Welcome to another edition of PENSDOWN. This is the program that takes journalists behind the scenes. We get to understand all that they go through while they gather, they process, and they package the news for our consumption. I have been joined by one of the top female broadcast journalists in Ghana today. She is a media brand strategist with a reputation for value proposition for enhanced market penetration. She will explain what that means. It's quite a lot. She heads the multimedia group's Joy Business, anchoring the brand's market share growth for visibility, revenue appreciation, and business sustainability. She is the CEO of the Chamber of Tourism Industry Ghana and serves on the following boards: Blue Crest University College, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, and the Chamber for Tourism Industry Ghana. Her 2-decade-long broadcast journalism career saw her taking up various roles at the multimedia and media general groups. As an international correspondent for African news, she covers and produces stories and documentaries for Euronews and Africa News. The Bloomberg Fellow has the following awards to her credits: Development Journalist of the Year 2010, Television Feature of the Year 2012 by the GJA, and the Environmental Reporting Award 2010 by the Minister of Environment. Her LinkedIn profile sums up her expertise. Thus, I communicate media value for global brands to reach their audiences for a massive sale. She coached 61 media owners on the BBC Big Talk, and the testimonial was, "Odelia is the best Big Talk we have had since the program." She is an alumna of the University of Cape Coast and the University of Ghana. I am curious, my first question: how many hours a day do you sleep?
Me, I sleep. Oh. I sleep. I sleep a lot. I basically believe in delegation. So I delegate as I currently have about a 14-member team that I lead at the multimedia group. What I tell everybody is I don't like to micromanage. Don't put me out there to micromanage you. Yes, as a leader, there's some level of micromanagement because you want to replicate a certain standard that you don't want your team members to deviate from. But if you trust your team to be able to deliver the work, then you wouldn't have to micromanage. I believe that tomorrow morning, if I decide not to go to multimedia again, the business will still run because I've been able to put power in the hands of people strategically to move the brand without me.
This is interesting. Now, you are a broadcast journalist and still is. You are also some strategist, some business-minded person, some entrepreneurially driven individual. How did you get the mix of all these?
Okay, so I think the entrepreneurial thing is ingrained. I mean, it's been with me since university. I formed my first company in level 100 with a friend of mine, where we wanted to do media things after we had joined Radio Universe. So that's when I started becoming entrepreneurial. Then I joined City FM in 2004. At the time, I was a student at the University of Ghana in my 3rd year. So I joined City as a broadcast journalist at the time. And then when I completed my national service at City, that is doing about a year, and then continuing to complete my national service. I left City and then joined TV3 at the time. And now here I am at the Multimedia Group. I'm excited about the Multimedia Group where I currently work because they moved my journalism career from just reporting every single day to becoming a media leader and a media strategist. And their strategy that they have taught me through becoming the head of Joy Business has been amazing. It really has been amazing. I have learned so much within the past 2 years on strategy because there's no business that can survive if you cannot strategize, if you cannot project in the next 5 years what is likely to happen in your environment, what will be the things that will happen in your environment that will give you the lead. And if you're prepared for that leadership, then you're in business. But if you are not prepared for that leadership, it means that you will not survive beyond a certain time. And so for me, every day preparing the team, preparing the Joy Business brand to outcompete, and not just to outcompete, but also to just present a clear leadership, that others will just follow, not following from close, but following from far off, is what has been my drive since I became the head of the team. And it's been an exciting journey.
This is PENSDOWN, and the conversation is with Odelia in Ntiamoah. I want to find out how and at what point in life did you discover the journalist in you?
Okay, so I met somebody in Commonwealth Hall, and I always talk about this Commonwealth C24. I still remember the room number. Wow. And his name is Black Boy, and he's still in the media space. The moment the man saw me in C24, he said, "Young lady, you have a fantastic voice. I think this voice should be on radio." And I said, then I went there with a couple of my friends, the 100 young people. They all burst out laughing. I also burst out laughing myself because I just couldn't see myself on radio or anything. Now that man, he was so handsome that I didn't want to disappoint him. So he had told me that I should write an application to what is it called? Radio University at the time, to become a student volunteer. And I had told myself that, look, if this guy met me the third time and said the same thing, I had failed. So I better do as he has said, just to please him. So I wrote that application letter to be a student volunteer for Radio University, just to please Black Boy. And just when I put in the application, listen to what the station manager at the time, he's called Sankara. This is what Sankara said. He was like, "Young lady, if you are serious, you will go places." Until today, it has been my mantra. It's been the guiding principle. And I'm so sure that when he sees me on TV or hears me speak anywhere, he's so proud of me and who I've become today. So that's how I started in the media space.
You have done 2 decades or almost of journalism, locally and outside. I am curious, if we are to go back into time, 25 years, will you still choose journalism?
I will. I will. I will. I perhaps will do it and even do it better and be more strategic and perhaps divide my life, my 20 years, into each stage, the strategy and what I want to be able to achieve with my brand. And so for me, if I had to go back into time, I would be more organized than I have been. But then definitely I can't go back into time. And so currently I'm actually really organizing my life in a better way. I mean, so many people see me, they are proud of me and all that, but I'm a hard taskmaster to myself. And I feel that I haven't even begun. And there's a lot more to start and to cover. And so that's basically what I think.
How many more years do you intend to go before you walk off the camera or drop your pen?
I don't think I will ever drop my pen. Think even when I'm 90 years, I will still want to do a fantastic interview. I will still want to interview presidents. I will still want to interview UN Secretary Generals. I will still want to interview stars and people that have driven national economies. I'll still want to interview stockbrokers. I'll still want to interview business owners. And so I don't intend to drop my pen. No, I don't intend to. Because it's actually, for me, it's a driver. And I always say that if I leave where I currently work and I have to even do corporate, it will be something that I will do on the side. On the side, it brings me excitement. I get joy when I interview people. I get to get fantastic sound bites, and I happen to be the person running the news. It's like adrenaline for me.
Does journalism pay?
Yes. Oh, does journalism pay? No. It doesn't pay, but it gives you social capital. So it depends on how you decide to use your social capital. And that's critical. There are certain doors that no matter how rich you are, I, as a journalist, will be able to open that door quicker because I wield either a pen, a camera, or what have you. So for me, it's you can't eat your cake and have it. It's that you wield a certain power which other people with money cannot have. I remember some time ago at Bogloshio, a place got burnt, and then the vice president, the late Inisa Alpha, saw me in the crowd, and then he was like, "Hey, Odelia, how is it?" And it felt so good. It felt so good because the vice president knows you, man. That's good, So it has its own advantages. You've got to be able to position yourself to take advantage of that exposure that opportunity gives you, and I think you should be fine.
Journalism has suffered a lot of attrition. So many trained, qualified professionals are abandoning the craft, either for corporate communication or into entirely different areas. You have colleagues, I'm sure, you have course mates, I'm sure, and even seniors who might have met you or you might have worked with at one point or the other, who are nowhere to be found within the fold today. What are they telling you? What is occasioning this attrition?
I think that many media houses don't have like a clear plan for growth. And that is mainly one of the key things that ambitious people within the media space are looking for. Yes, they would want to be journalists, but they don't want to stay at the same role forever. They would want to do to grow. But of course, at the top is the apex. It doesn't have too many people there. So if they can get the opportunities in different places where they can also stay at the apex, that is fine. And I feel that it hasn't really augured well for the media fraternity because we need a lot of people with so much experience to be able to deliver quality media services, which drives a certain trust for the media space. And now, by the time you hit 40, you hit 50, everybody begins to say, "Oh, you've stayed in this place for too long. Aren't you getting too old for this?" And then, so sometimes based on that, you yourself, you're frustrated, and then you pick your bag and you walk. But I think that media leaders, media owners, also want to stay for the long haul and support them in one way or the other to be able to bring on board that kind of experience that is needed for any corporate institution.
Take us back to that big talk experience on babies.
Yeah. So this is what happened. I was there and I saw someone from Nigeria who had done the big talk. Then I read the person's profile. And then I said, looking at this person's profile and looking at my profile, I can do better than this person. So I wrote to the BBC and told them, and I gave them my CV, gave them my profile, told them what I've been able to achieve at Joy Business. And then they said, okay, can you share with us a presentation? So I did the presentation, shared with them, and they said, wow, this is good. And they gave me a date, September last year. They gathered media leaders all over Africa and all over the world to listen to how we have moved Joy Business to become a major revenue driver for the multimedia group. And it was really exciting. It was.
Is there any award you will take which will ever override the kind of excitement that Big Talk brought you?
Yes, there are a couple of international awards that if I win, it will be exciting, of course. And then there are a couple of international organizations that if I also am able to work with or deliver some consultancy services to, I think that I will be able to say maybe the United Nations / that national award / the BBC. So I think they will all be on the same, a big boost.
I want to find this out from you. Should journalists be licensed?
I don't think so. I think it will kill innovation. So what if you don't have the license, you get to a point where a story is breaking, you cannot tell it because you don't have the license or your license has expired. I don't think journalists I don't think journalists should be licensed at all. I think that the Media Commission, GJA, any media-related organizations, including the companies, should actually support the journalists to be, how would you call it, like responsible journalists. And for us as multimedia, we are actually very detailed about all of these things. Look, we have code of conduct, we have regulations and all of that. And you should see us at management meetings, putting these things together, making sure that the brand is really credible. Because once we have become the multimedia group, listen, there are other stations who will do things that they will not be taking to court, but we will, because people know that when they take us to court and we lose the case, they can get some good money. So big means you have to be more responsible. And so for me, I think that media houses have all the standards for their team. It actually boosts your team's confidence. When you take a multimedia journalist out and you take other media houses, you notice that they exude a certain confidence. And all of that is built from within before they step out there. And the culture hasn't broken since I joined. And we will keep living that kind of culture to be able to give people the confidence that we actually will bring them credible, unbiased journalism that they can trust and know that this information is really good. And they can always say, oh, once it's coming from Joy FM, or it's coming from Joy News, or it's coming from Joy Prime, or it's coming from Adon Runs, then this news is really authentic, so you must stand by it.
How much of a challenge has social media been, or how has it redefined the frontiers of journalism from where you sit?
I see that social media has not actually been a bane, but rather been a benefit. It is actually giving us more platforms, giving us a lot of work to do, but it's actually giving media houses the leverage and the opportunity to reach audiences that ideally were not sitting on traditional media. You meet people and it's, oh, me, I don't watch TV, or me, I don't watch Ghana news. But these people cannot say, oh, me, I cannot be bothered about social media. They are there. And so now we are able to reach all of these people. And that's really good. That's really good. But for me, it has to be built in strategy. If it is not situated in strategy, what do you want to achieve with whichever social media channels that you are currently using as a media house? If it's not engraved in strategy, then it's like you're just following the flow because everybody is doing it, you're doing it. But it has to be strategic. And if it's not strategic, then don't do it because you just can't be with the flow. You've got to do it right.
Yeah. How much of your privacy have you sacrificed to remain on television?
So there's a media thing where now I cannot eat at any silly place.
Exactly.
My children cannot go to any substandard school. And that was one of the things I was telling you at the beginning, that I do other things that you don't know. Yeah. So I decided to homeschool my children and then gradually migrate it into a school. And that's what I'm currently doing, because the standard wasn't just up to what I expected. Now I go to church, I meet people, everybody's saying, oh, I like your English, you speak impeccable English. And then my child is going and is putting is to was and all of that. No, you know. So I got a teacher for them at home. Then I built the structures, and then now I'm scaling it up into a school. That is how much of your privacy will be taken away, because you become like a book and you become like the standard and everybody's looking at you. It comes with a lot of, yes, so it means you need to make the money to be able to keep up the standard. But for me, no pressure. If today I have to wear one shoe for 1 year and it looks good, I clean it nicely, I'll wear it. I don't have a problem. I don't have to meet anybody's standard. I just have to be sure that whatever things I'm doing makes me happy, and it makes my husband happy, and it makes my children happy. For me, that's it.
How much of social life do you have? Quantify it in hours for me in a week. Is it 1 hour, 2 hours? Or?
Just this weekend, I'm doing some brand ambassador work for a friend of mine who has a beautiful, fantastic hotel at Takrady called the Red Mango Apartment Hotel. And my husband and I and the children went so that I could do the shoots and still pictures and videos for her to be able to promote the hotel. So when we came back, I told him that, can we do this again? And then she said, oh, look at you. Do you even have the time? So yes, I don't have a social life. And my father will be able to tell you that I don't have a social life. I hardly call him. I hardly go to him. He's 82 years. He called me yesterday. I was busy with some deadlines. It was my husband who spoke with him. So that is how your life is like all crammed up. And you have so many things to get done and all of that. But
how are you able to juggle family life and all these mountain of responsibilities and commitments and still remain sane? How are you able to do all
that? I learned in recent times, since I became a manager, that you need to delegate. You need to trust other people to support you. Otherwise, you will break down. So I delegate a lot. My editors, the Joy Business team, handle everything. And I do the strategic part of the business. Then at my home, I got some fantastic lady who helps me at home. Then I got the 2 teachers to run the school, you know, for the children as well. So by the time I get to the house this evening, I go take over from the house or the nanny, and then I take over. I make sure I get home early. sometimes so that I can catch up with the children before they can before they go to sleep. There are a couple of when like 2 days I haven't seen the children, but they know I'll make it up to them. So
2 words that are very important in the work you do now: strategy and value proposition.
Yeah.
Now, when you were talking about your kids homeschooling, that is strategy.
Yeah.
You've scaled it up. Now it is blossoming into a school. That is value proposition, so that the outside world can also take advantage.
Yeah.
How much did you pay to learn these things? Or
I
they just
didn't
came
pay
to you?
anything. I didn't pay anything. I didn't pay anything. But the thing about me is, if I don't know, I ask. And then I strategically make friends. So I have friends, some key places that if I need anything in terms of learning, they can give it to me. In recent times, I decided to do some brand ambassador work because I believe in the barter system. So I can come to your facility. I say, I want your facility for X, Y, Z. So that in exchange, I do brand ambassador for you. They say, yes, I take it. So it is, I don't learn it from people. I think sometimes I have bad experiences. It teaches me quickly. I take up the task and I run with it. And then I pray a lot. So sometimes I can pray and then I will just get a revelation. It just comes like an idea, run with this, then I do it and it works. So I spend, when you hear me take a leave from my office, it's because I want to go and pray. Because sometimes I feel that, okay, my ideas have become stale. I need fresh ideas. And then I just pray and God gives me the ideas and then I run with it. So sometimes if you want to compete with me or something, it won't work unless you're doing the same things I do.
That is God's favorite daughter, I suspect.
Yes, I know.
What stands out for you as the most challenging assignment as a journalist?
You want a specific example?
It could be many. It all depends.
Okay. So there was a time that I went with a camera guy to follow a teacher in the northern region to one of those overseas communities. And we had to walk for 7 hours and ride the motorcycle for 5 hours. It took us 12 hours to get to the location.
You mean you did what? You walked for how long?
But God prepares everybody for their assignment. Look, I'm coming from a background where me, my father, and my younger brother, at the time I was in JSS when I was 13, my younger brother was 11. We dug our manhole in our father's house. Whoa. We dug it ourselves. We dug it so deep that we reached water level, so that the mason came and said, "Oh, Mr. Furi, now where the bed, what will you use this for?" And then we had to fix it. But it's because of the future assignment. So God had prepared me for this. So working for 7 hours, it wasn't really like shocking for me because I've walked before. And then I was in clubs in SS where we walked a lot. The head of state awards, we walked for days. In adventure and all of that. So I was prepared for the assignment. And so for me, that was like a tough one. A tough one because I almost drowned. And it was one of the key stories in this country that I still meet people who say, wow, why did you take that risk? So for me, that's been one of the stories that I can never forget.
This is exciting. I'm enjoying this conversation, but your reality confuses me a lot. Are you a journalist or a corporate person?
So I've been currently moved into the corporate space where I am supposed to be doing media leadership. But I just want to let my journalistic instincts go. And so I currently will do some very top-notch or high-level interviews for my team. So, for example, when the International Development Minister for Canada was in town, I got to interview him when he came. There are certain CEOs who open the doors to me easily. So, for example, even though I'm on leave, I've arranged to interview the Norwegian International Fund boss for West Africa from LinkedIn. And so for me, yeah, I just can't let it go. And that's what I've told you already, that even if I'm 90 years, I'll still interview people.
A Ghanaian journalist in Ghana, you are familiar with the word Solly, am I right?
Oh, yes.
What's your take on it? What's your take on it?
So currently, where I work,
yeah,
you cannot take Solly. It's part of the instructions by the company, and it's because it actually sometimes clouds your judgment. So you cannot take Solly in my team as it stands. For me, the reality of things is that remuneration for this space is very little.
Yeah.
And has to be looked at, because when people are paid well and they are super excited about their jobs, they are not going to run after tips. And that's how I call it. And in America, it is normal for people who serve tables to be given tips. And so, well, they find that as normal. But here at Multimedia, you are not allowed to take tips. If you are caught, actually, you can lose your job because you followed people to take money before getting your job done. So, yes.
Wow. Now, there's something about the character of staff of Multimedia. I liken them to American citizens. They have a certain confidence that sometimes irritates others. What orientation are you giving yourself that is making you people have this kind of gutsy posture that it looks like, okay, so where angels fear to tread, we will venture and come alive?
Yeah. So at the start of the business, we had to ask ourselves, in what space do we want to play? Once we identified our audiences, we asked ourselves, these kinds of people, where do they sit, especially within the corporate space and on the political ladder? So they are either ministers or CEOs or top executives of different brands. And if we have to reach these people, then we must be confident. And if we're not confident, we will be bullied. And once you're bullied, you may not necessarily get the information you're looking for. And so we were not just armed with confidence, but armed with information, so that when you're going to have an interview, you are top-notch with the information and top-notch with your attitude in relation to confidence. And so that's basically how we positioned ourselves as individuals working within our corporate brand because of the kind of audiences we wanted to reach.
Has there been a time your husband has said, you need to take a break, this is too much, just sleep, rest, relax for a while?
I think the only time my husband said, you cannot do this, was I was trained as an investigative journalist in America. And of course, the US State Department identified the kind of work I had done in Ghana and said that, look, you deserve to travel to America to learn investigative journalism. So based on my training, I said I wanted to do investigative journalism full time. My husband said, no, you have a family. We don't have systems in this country that protects people very well. And when Swale died, then he said, there you go. And so you cannot do this in this space because people are not well protected. And I don't want to lose you or lose my children or lose my own life. And so we closed the chapter on investigative journalism, and I let it go.
Apart from broadcast journalism, have you had some stint in print or maybe online journalism?
Yeah, I was trained by DW for online journalism. I haven't done print before. I think it will be exciting but difficult because you have to write a lot. But I haven't done print before.
I see. If you said if you should come back in your next life, you'll do journalism again, is it still going to be broadcast journalism and television for that matter?
Yes, it will be, and it will still be broadcast.
Wow. Wow. This has been PENSDOWN. Odelia in Ntiamoah. Too many things to share. Very busy. I know these 30 minutes or so I have taken out of her time. She's losing some millions somewhere.
We are getting a lot of interactions from phone calls.
Exactly. I want to thank you for this opportunity, for making time to be with me today, to share your journalism journey. Thanks a lot for joining me. I don't take it for granted. I'm truly honored. We'll be back next time with another edition. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.
Welcome. Bye.